Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe Aline mentioned briefly about semantic search. And what we are using semantic search for is to make it easier for us to search for documents that have close proximity in meaning, more so than just a keyword search. So for example, what we have done here is that we have this corpus of about 13,000 emails in our database. And then say, for example, if I want to make a search on something like the Big Apple, okay, so we know it's a nickname for New York City and not specifically talking about apples itself. And we can see what kind of emails get returned based on this search query. Okay, so for keyword search, we can see that for keyword search, it's correctly highlighted apples, but that's not what we want, right? Okay, and then for the second email, again, apples, right? So, but if we look at the return result for semantic search, we can see that it's talking about New York, right? So it returns something that's relevant to the user who's searching for something regarding New York. And there's no mention of the word Apple here in this case at all, right? I'll give another example. Say, for example, we talk about Apple OS, right? It's operating system. And then we can see we similarly do not want to get return results talking about apples. We want to see something regarding the operating system itself. Okay, so let's look at the keyword search top result again. Same thing, apples. Second result, again, apples, same. But we can see here for semantic search, what we get back here is Mac, right? With no mention of the word Apple. So this returns a lot of utility for users. Perhaps someone might want to give an example that they would like to give it a try to show that, we're not gaming this. Anyone has any suggestions? If not, then I will proceed on to auto classification for emails using a semantic search database. Okay, so what we have here is a categorization of the different kinds of documents that the UN officers use to categorize documents. And as you know, any large organization has a lot of documents that you would want to either apply some metadata or tag, right, for you to route to the relevant agency, the relevant department, or to apply some kind of retention or disposition policy. So for example, if my email has been in my server for more than 10 years, it might not be so relevant. I can decide whether to archive it after 10 years, put it into blob storage, or I can decide to dispose of it. So I'll give you an example here. In this example for UN nations, there are 5 broad categories: office support, budget and finance, human resources, information management, and oversight. And within these 5 broad categories, we have many subcategories. Right? And here, there are retention policies that are being applied: total retention and disposition. So these letters are represented by this key here. So you can see here retention code. C is for the current year. So in this case, I retain it for the current year plus 1 more year, upon which I decide to, the disposition policy, I decide to either archive A or delete it. So this is one example. Okay. So what we've done is that we will now show how this is performed with some sample emails. So what we'll demonstrate here is, like, for example, I have this email. Maybe you can take a quick read about this. It's about someone writing regarding traveling to Seoul, and he needs to make some arrangement plans. And then basically saying that, it's not going to affect his work. So what we can do is that we can take this email, plonk it into this auto classifier, Okay, and then let's see what kind of classes it generates for it. Okay, you can see there is a decreasing confidence score where the top ranked is showing that it belongs to a human resources category and talking about travel administration, right? And then of course here we can automatically apply the retention policy based on whatever the organization decides. If you can recall, C+1 is current year, and D is to destroy the email after C+1. And here you have some additional notes of what you can do with the email documents. Okay, we can try with another one. Say, for example, okay. So this one, it's talking about HR again. So it's a bit long. Let's look at something slightly different. Okay, something to do with finance, fiduciary arrangements, financial management framework, and talking about budget and so on and so forth. So we can see that this would invariably be ranked somewhere in the categorized somewhere in the finance category. So, but let's don't take my word for it. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's classify. Okay, so you can see it comes under broad category budget and finance, and then extra budgetary resources and management reporting. Right. Okay. So currently now this model, it's what it's actually doing, how it works is that it does a semantic search of the text of the email against the description column. So for any organization that wants to do this kind of automatic classification, the description should be as verbose and unique per subcategory. So like you can see in this case, this category 207, 208, regular budget management and reporting, support account management and reporting. Both of these two have the same identical description. And as a result, they get returned the same confidence score. So this is a negative example where we show that we need to have descriptions that are unique for each category that we want to categorize our emails on. Okay, and then let's say, for example, use something completely irrelevant. Okay, bioplankton. So in this database of emails, there's nothing regarding bioplankton. And we can see that the confidence score is very low. So what we can do here is that if the confidence score is below a certain threshold, then we can choose to ignore it or basically route it to some irrelevant folder for some administrator to do something about it. Yeah. Any questions on this demo? Okay. If there are none, I'll hand it over to our next presenter, which should be Zhang Qiao.